Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast. I'm your host, Mike Luke, joined by the great Jason Scheer. Hello, Jason Scheer. How are you doing today?
Splendid, Michael. Thank you.
We have got a lot to get to this show. We are going to talk Arizona football camp is here. We're going to talk TJ Benson. We are going to talk about this coaching staff. We're going to talk even a little bit of Jedd Fisch with some revisionist history, which generally Jedd Fisch likes to do. But first, Scheer camp is here. Let's before we get into kind of the nitty-gritty, what are you looking for? What are your expectations? I've said many times 9 wins is my expectations, period, point blank.
Season expectations?
Yep.
Yeah, I think 9 wins sounds about right. You know, I think you can make a case. If certain things happen, you can make a case for 8, but it would be disappointing. But I think 9 is probably the minimum that most people will be happy with.
Yes, that's where I'm at as well. Now, when it comes to the camp starts Wednesday, Kilroy. Now, from individual player expectations here, we've talked a lot about T-Mac. We've talked a lot about certain players and what we expect out of them. Let's talk first about Noah Fifita. Can he make that next step? That's something to me that is going to be interesting because, again, he was a freshman of the year last year. I mean, he was really good. Dino Babers has been handed a Lamborghini. Can he get that thing going even faster?
And I'm curious what that next level looks like for Noah, too. Like, he's really good to begin with. So what does it look like? Is it more accurate? Is it more yardage? Like, he told me it's more mobility, but in my head, I'm like, I don't want you to run. Like, I need you healthy, but I'm very curious to see what that next level looks like. And yeah, I mean, we've talked about it. I think there's more pressure on Dino Babers than there is any coach on this staff.
Yes, exactly. And honestly, there should be because he's got kind of an interesting track record when you look at Babers. When he was here at the U of A, he led the best offense in school history. But then, and then when he was kind of at his mid-major level and early on at Syracuse, he ran a more, open style. This last couple of years at Syracuse obviously wasn't calling plays, but it looked terrible.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing, too, that I think people have to remember. Like, Babers hasn't called plays in years. Right. I mean, and he's got some really good offensive coordinators. Sean Lewis, who's now the head coach at San Diego State, like he was one of them. Like, we don't know what Babers is as a play caller. It's been too long. And I'm not saying that he just forgot everything, but sometimes offensive coordinators don't adapt or they do adapt, and we just don't know. That's one of the biggest questions going into camp that I have is what is his offense even going to look like, and how is Babers as a play caller?
Yes. Now, as far as the running game goes, I'm also going to be curious to see what kind of running game do they employ. Now, listen, Alonzo Carter says we're going to have a power running game. That obviously can mean a lot of different things, but what is going to be that breakdown? And are there going to be games where Noah Fifita is just going and you're letting him toss the ball 50 times? That's where that's going to be interesting for me to see exactly how they play that.
I'd be really surprised if there were games where they gave up the run where they didn't need to. I think the run is going to be a large part of this offense. When you have guys like Jacory and Qualley, you're doing a disservice to the offense if the running part. Now I don't think this is going to be like 70 run, 30
right.
pass, but I think it'll be a pretty balanced offense. But again, we got to see it, right?
Right. Jennifer DeBella says, are you tailgating at K-State? Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Marcelo Martinez says, tough to get to 9 wins. We got to run the table after Utah game. Possible if we stay locked in and no injuries. We'll get back to that in a second. I think that's an interesting point. Now, with the offensive line, this to me is really going to tell me everything about the offense, to be honest with you, because I have no doubt in Noah Fifita. I'm fine with the receivers, running backs, tight ends. Listen, can you figure out that 5th spot? Because if you can't figure out that 5th spot, then I got some concerns. If you've got that 5th spot figured out to where it's just decent or solid, then I think you feel pretty good, Scheer.
Yeah, that's the spot. There's no competition with Baker and Moy and Savanea. Maybe you see a little competition with Leif and Shanko, but I don't think so. I think Leif probably wins that job. Left tackle's wide open. And I don't need it to be a situation where someone wins it by default, right? You want to, because that never ends up well. You want someone in the first few days of fall camp to emerge where you look at that guy and you go, oh yeah, that's the starting left tackle. If you're still trying to figure out who the starting left tackle is 2 weeks from today, That's not a good sign to me.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot right now. Right now. Who is that starting? Now, let me ask you actually something else before we get into that. Ollie Farhang, the great Ollie Farhang, made an interesting point. Why don't you just put Big Jonah at left tackle if you can't figure this one out?
And replace him with who?
Well, put somebody. I mean, it's harder to find a left tackle than it is a right tackle. It's a more important position.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. And I think they're going to move things around. It's just a matter of maximizing the offensive line. Yeah, I would consider it if Jonah and Wooten and Rhino aren't good, then you have major problems to begin with, and then I'd consider it. But I think in an ideal world, one of those three, throw in Polito also, you got 4 options at left tackle. You better be able to find one.
Well, right, but I guess my question, though, and I think it's kind of a fair question, is that if you're playing Jonah, if Jonah's your best offensive lineman, if Jonah's a future first-round pick, why are you putting him at the less important tackle position?
I don't know. You'd have to ask Josh Oglesby that.
I think that's a fair question, though, is it not?
It is. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
The offensive line's an interesting situation. I saw you see Jordan Morgan, where he's playing for the Packers?
Where's he playing? Center?
Guard. Only guard.
Interesting. All right.
Well, Jordan. Yeah. And they love that guard. They think he's a multi-year starter, but they said yesterday or a couple days ago he's not a tackle in their offense.
All right. Now, Polito's obviously getting a lot of questions. Polito, listen, he's in the mix, obviously, but with Polito, like I said, I'm at the stage I'll believe it when I see it type thing.
Look, Polito's real simple. He hasn't been a part of all the team activities this summer. I'm not going into the reasons why, out of respect for him and his family and all that. But when you're not there during the summer and you're not healthy in the spring, it's an open competition. No one has called Polito the starter at left tackle. Brennan did it. Noah did it. Oglesby did it. There's a reason for that. Could he win the competition? Sure, why not? But to me, he's probably an underdog at this point.
Yeah, all right. I'm gonna lay down the gauntlet. I'm gonna go with what my pick is. I think it's gonna be Jonah Rodriguez. I have nothing to really base that on, other than I think that from what I've seen from Deuced, I don't believe that Deuced is the answer. Wooten could be interesting. No clue on that one. If I just had to put a leader in the clubhouse right now, or just in my preseason leader, I would put it at Jonah Rodriguez.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't know. I mean, I think Wooten is good, but I want to see it. I think Rodriguez is a guy that the coaching staff was familiar with coming out of high school. They really wanted him at San Jose State. I think Rhino's kind of a sleeper, to be honest. Right. He played so much during the spring. I think there's a possibility he sneaks in there, but I'd probably put the odds at Jonah right now.
Yeah, all right. But that's what you got to have happen with the offensive line. You've got to be able to, you got to figure that one out because the other ones are solid. Also, we got to give a big shout out here to Leif Magnuson, somebody that, has kind of been underlooked or overlooked this entire time at the U of A. Leif's a baller, man. Leif's a beast. Leif does it the right way. Leif's got a great family. Very much pulling for Leif.
Yeah, I mean, we've made it very clear. I'm sure how much
we're Team Leif.
Yeah, we love that family. Great player, and again, I think maybe a competition emerges with him and Shanko. But I mean, Leif is going to get more respect from this coaching staff than he did the previous coaching staff.
Yes. All right. That's all we want. We will protect Leif at all costs. Leif is also another good culture fit on this team. We very much like Leif. All right. Now, let's get to the defensive side. What we're looking for from that old white guy, Duane Akina. Now, listen, you and I are both on record that we think that the breakout player on the defense, and I get one person said on your board, and I think this is a fair point. He said Tai Uiagalelei. I don't put him as my breakout because I think he's a starter that's already set in stone, and I expect him to be good, if that makes any sense. But I have no problem putting him there. Tai, but then we're going to get to our breakout player.
Yeah, I mean, I just expect him to be good. I mean, if you want to call it a breakout because he's getting more snaps or whatever, that's fine. But I think the expectation is just that he's going to be a good football player, and we all know it. Maybe to people elsewhere, it'll look like he's emerged from nowhere. But I think Arizona fans are kind of ready for him to take the next step.
Yes, exactly. So Marquise Groves Killebrew, that's the one. I think that he makes. I think he makes everything go. If you got him and he is good at that one of the boundary corner spots, you don't have to do anything with Traden Stukes. You can maneuver your safeties around. He makes everything go on that defense. I think if he is ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, I mean, if he's ready, like we think he's going to be ready, that defense is significantly better. I mean, let's just be honest. Even if it's not him, let's say Meach comes in and he's better than people think, and he wins that starting corner. It's similar to what I said with the offensive line. No disrespect to Carnley or G7, but we know they're probably not good enough to play every snap, right? They can play, but not every snap. If one of those guys, Killebrew or Freeney, can run with that position in fall camp and actually win that starting job, that is a major question answered. And if you were to ask me between those two, who's most likely, I would say Groves Killebrew.
Yes, I would say Groves Killebrew as well. Now, at the linebacker spot, it's going to be fascinating to see. I think we're going to see a lot of a dollar. I think we're going to see, and again, I'd love to be wrong. Maybe a Tay Brown emerges, but I think, listen, Duane Akina has made it known throughout that he is going to do everything possible to get his best football players on the field. 3 of his 11 best football players are Dalton Johnson, Gunnar Maldonado, and Genesis Smith. He's going to do everything he can to get all those guys on the court or on the field.
Yeah, they're playing a 4-2-5. I mean,
right.
that's what they're playing. The issue is who's that second linebacker, right? Like, and I would say that's probably the only miss of the offseason is Arizona not finding a way to add another linebacker. But I also think Danny Gonzalez is a really good coach. And if he says, look, I can find a way to kind of combine these 3 with Camilla, Flo, and Tay Brown, and we could be good enough at that position, I'm kind of hard-pressed not to believe him.
Yeah, I have full faith in this defensive coaching staff. Honestly, I love this coaching staff. I think that from Danny Gonzalez all the way down, obviously, to Duane Akina, I got full faith in what they're going to do, Scheer.
Yeah, I like the defensive coaching staff quite a bit. I think Tiny knows what he's doing, and he's learning from Akina. And I think Brett Arce is a coach coordinator in the making. I think he's Akina glows when he talks about Brett Arce. He just loves the guy. I have no problem with this coaching staff.
At what point did Duane Akina win the great Jason Scheer over? What's their point?
I think when you start to 2 things. Number one, he's been much more active recruiting than I thought he would be.
Right.
He really has been. And I think that some of the players are surprised too, because I asked Gunnar about it. His energy is insane.
Right.
To be fair, Mike, we've seen some like older coaches on these coaching staffs under Rich, under Sumlin, that had no energy.
Yeah, but you should have trusted me on this one, and you didn't trust me on this one.
Yeah, I don't trust you at all with most stuff. But Akina, his energy is wild. Like, if you have a chance to watch him practice, like he's running like a player. Gunnar Maldonado said it's fun to watch. Like, it's contagious. It's a big deal.
All right, now let's talk about Duane Akina and the safeties here. I believe that there's the potential here to be one of the 3 or 4 best secondaries in the country. Listen, you've got Duane. Again, I know that you got to have some things go right, but you've got Duane Akina, who, like we talked about, is the goat of all goats when it comes to defensive backs coaches. You've got now in Tacario Davis, you got a first-round pick. Those don't come through here a lot. You've got 3 safeties, all really good that you know can play. From Dalton Johnson, who's kind of the quarterback of everything on that defense, to Gunnar Maldonado, who is obviously, my bad Gunnar, his play speaks for itself. Genesis Smith feels like an NFL player. Traden Stukes, obviously, Duane Akina has said many times he thinks that that's the best nickel in the country. If Marquise Groves Killebrew is ready to go, or maybe Freeney, I believe that this can be a top 5 defensive backfield in the entire country. I believe it's that good, and I think with the tutelage of Jason Scheer, of
Yeah.
with the tutelage of Duane Akina and Jason Scheer, I believe that I don't think it's that far off, Scheer. I really don't.
Top 5 is wild, Mike. You're my guy, but top 5 is wild. I'm just hoping for best secondary in the Big 12. I'll settle for that.
Okay, that's fine.
Kansas secondary, their corners are very good. I think Arizona probably has better safeties. There's some good corners in the Big 12. But yeah, I mean, even if it's top 10, Let's say top 10. That's pretty damn good too.
Let's recalibrate here because that's what we can do on the AZ Wildcats podcast. How about top 10? Do you think there's potential for top 10 potential?
Yeah, I do. I think. When you say top, 5, we're talking, Georgia. Yeah. Those schools,
schools that all have essentially Orlando Antigua at every single coaching position. Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
By the way, we're going to make fun of them in a minute here. But back to the secondary here for a second. I think that if it is a top 10 secondary in the country, the defense is going to be really good because he's going to be able. Akina's a guy that believes in a lot of pressure. He believes in getting to the quarterback, and he doesn't want to just basically hold positions. If he's got that kind of faith, if you've got a top 10 secondary, it's going to be exciting to see what he can do in the front.
I'll say this. When we were on just now, literally as we speak, I Googled top secondaries in college football. And the first article that came up was your boys from PFF. Mm-hmm. Right? And Arizona's number 10.
All right, so it's not that wild.
Yeah, it's not that wild. And like you mentioned, that's in the Big 12.
Yes, I'm all right. There again. Maybe, see, here's what happens with Scheer. I tell him something, and he never wants to listen.
No. You said top 5, Mike. You said top 5. And
okay, well, listen, if it's already considered top 10, let's not act like top 5 is something that is far out of the equation. Come on.
I guess, yeah. Ohio State, yeah, I guess.
Step up. All right. Now we got some good news here. We have a Sanderson Ford is now a sponsor of PHNX. Ooh. Very, very cool. We are very big fans of Sanderson Ford. Big shout out to Max Simpson there, by the way. All right, here with Sanderson Ford, all kinds of very good stuff here. And I think what you got to look at is, first of all, you can get 0% for 36 months OAC from Ford Credit. You can see the dealer for details. Here's how it is, though. The Sanderson Ford Summer of Sales event is here, and they are teaming up with the big boys of summer for a final playoff sale. They are pushing for the playoffs, and you can get deals like a 24 Ford Bronco South Bend, just ranked highest in quality by J.D. Power. Lease one today for as low as $299 a month for 36 months with only 10% cash down. Only 10% cash down. Very, very nice. Plus 0% financing for 36 months with no payments for 90 days on Ford F-150, Escape, Edge, Explorer, and Expedition. Purchase or lease any new Ford and get Ford tickets for your family to see the D-backs push for the playoffs. Sanderson Ford, and the other one we got to talk about here, Shady Rays. Listen, I am in Tahoe right now. Very cool people here in Tahoe. I can basically count the amount of people. I can't count the amount of people that are wearing Shady Rays. Scheer, it's just a movement that does not stop. Shady Rays, exclusively for our listeners. Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use code PHNX for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Scheer, listen, we got to get you a pair of Shady Rays. You've already got the Inner Circle hat, which I will be getting when I get back. But by the way, where is the Inner Circle hat? Put it on. But the only thing that Scheer is missing right here is a pair of Shady Rays. If Scheer a pair of Shady Rays, he would look fantastic. We agree. Get rid of the prescription glasses. Get some Shady Rays, or maybe prescription sunglasses. Either way.
Do you think I should get Brent Brennan to wear one of these?
An Inner Circle hat? Oh, can you imagine?
Should I bring it to the media?
Yeah, we should. I should bring him a pair of Shady Rays, and you should bring him a pair of Inner Circle and say, Coach, will you put both of these on right now for a cameo?
Yeah, and while you do that, can you please eat this Del Taco cheeseburger? Thank you.
Yes, exactly. So check out Shady Rays. But Scheer, I think you're on to something. We should see if he'll wear the Inner Circle hat. I'm very excited to see if
I think I can do it.
All right. Now, let me ask you this. I was talking about this a little bit. I expect Arizona, at the very least, to be a top 15 offense in the country this year. If it isn't a top 15 offense, I will be upset. There will be riots in the streets outside of Noah getting hurt.
Yeah. Outside of any major injuries to Noah or T-Mac, I see nothing wrong with top 15. I'm glad you didn't say top 3. Top 15.
All right, so let's we're going to talk about this a little bit tomorrow. Well, you know what? We'll talk about that tomorrow. All right, now, defensively, here's what I would like. Here's my goal. Be a top 4 defense in the Big 12. If you're a top 4 defense in the Big 12 and you're a top 15 offense in the country, you're going to win a lot of games, Jason Scheer.
Yeah, also fair. Glad you didn't say top 4 defense in America. Top 4 in the Big 12. Very possible. It's possible. Kansas State, Kansas, Utah. Why not Arizona?
Why not Arizona?
Why not?
Now,
Let's pull that back. Why not Arizona?
why not Arizona? How many teams from the Big 12 do we think can get into the college football playoffs?
I think the winner of the Big 12 gets in. That's it.
You think just one, and then what? It's basically 6 from the
Yeah.
from the SEC, 5 from the Big 10, and
Pretty
then
much.
And then 1 from the ACC.
Yeah, that sounds about right, doesn't it?
Oh gosh, gross.
Do I think it's fair? No. I think you need 2 what? I don't know. Let's say the winner of the 12 gets in, and let's say like your second place team is 10-2. I think they can get in.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that if you win 10 games, you could be. If you're second place team, you'll get in. I think the Big 12 is going to get in 2.
Yeah.
And I could actually see those teams winning some games as well. Now, Kilroy, the great Kilroy, says, weren't we promised Del Taco news? No, the Del Taco news is coming up later in the week, my friend. By the way, though, I am going to be, here's how committed I am to Circle K, though. I am going to be making the 20-mile trip. There are no Circle Ks in South Tahoe. I am going to be making the 20-mile trip to Incline Village to take a picture in front of the closest Circle K today. So that's not even part of the read, but we will get back to that. Don't worry, this is going to be a lot of fun. All right, now defensive line. You and Portland Timbers don't really have any concerns about Portland Timbers. Very good poster on Scheer's board. You guys don't really have any concerns about the pass rush off the edge. I do. I am not sold on it yet. I love Ty. I love Trey Smith, but between Chase Kennedy, it's a lot of.
I have concerns.
Okay, good.
Defensive line as a whole will be able to make up for some of that, but yeah, we talked about this recently. I'm concerned about the depth. I like Trey Smith. I like Ty. Who's that third guy?
Right. That's what I'm concerned about because, again, one of those guys goes down. Now, I do think that the defensive tackles have really warmed to the defensive tackles. I think Bear Anderson, I don't know, he's not going to start this year, but I think he's going to be a starter at this time next year. I know you've heard the same things. They're a big fan of Bear Anderson. I think Darton, though, I'm telling you, I don't know why, Darton was in the ACC last year, 5 sacks.
Put up numbers. He absolutely put up numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why, and especially Akina. Big thing is that he said he wanted his players to be able to get upfield in a hurry. So I don't know why we can't necessarily have that Scheer.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's depth at that position. Chuba, Darton, Isaiah Johnson, Bear Anderson. Like Arizona has depth on the interior defensive line, which is nice.
Right. Now, Gringo Billy says, I think guys like Lalacio and Kennedy could be solid. For sure. I mean, there's definitely potential there.
Yeah. It's more of that. It's what I always say is like, you can tell me those guys are good. I get where you're coming from. I need to see it. Like Chase Kennedy, Utah coaches loved him, thought he had great potential, has yet to reach it. There's no guarantee he's going to reach it at Arizona. If he does, yay for everyone. But I have to see production after a while.
Yes, I got to see production after a while, and yes, I would totally agree with that. Now, Robert Garitano says the closest one is in Carson City. Okay, now I want to make fun of Jed Fish for a minute. Jed Fish was full Jed Fish at Big Ten Media Day. He cannot help himself. According to Jed Fish, he has been the coach of Washington while they've beaten Oregon the last 2 times. I guess Dan Lanning didn't know that he was coaching against him. They've beat Texas the last 2 times they've played. A bunch of different things. Jed Fish, little did you know when you thought he was coaching at Arizona, he was also coaching at Washington, Jason Scheer.
Yeah, Jed just does his thing like we, right? Like we and he, right? Like Brian Peterson made a funny tweet about like, it's we when we're good. It's he when we're not good. Right. He had another thing, like someone asked him who the starting quarterback is, and he talked about how great Jayden DeLaura was. Like he did it again.
Did he really? He brought up Jayden DeLaura again?
Yeah, like someone said, like he's like, oh, we had a great quarterback. Jayden DeLaura was, people forget he was 4-1, and then he got hurt, and we had Noah, and It's like, no, dude, like.
No, moron. Nice try. We will make fun of you appropriately here. No, they were 3-1, and they were going to lose that Stanford game when Noah came in and won the game. So no, you were going to be 2-2, and those 2 wins were going to be against what? NAU, and who was the other team?
I don't know. Nothing
He's making it out like he's like this quarterback whisperer or
something.
something.
Yeah, that's basically what he was saying, and he did the whole. It was his media day stuff. It was awesome. It was like, we are the 33rd NFL team. We have all these other teams are running pro style offenses, but I'm the only one that's coached it in the NFL.
Yeah, no, I know. He's here's the thing with Jedd Fisch. Jedd Fisch is the best. Just ask Jedd Fisch. He will tell you that he is the best. But no, that cracked me up. And then Jonah Coleman saying that everybody that was part of our success at Arizona is here in Washington. Well, the best players are back here, dude.
Yeah.
And Duane Akina is here as well. Jed is an easy punchline. We are going to continue to mock Jedd Fisch. Here's another interesting thing about Jedd Fisch. Let's say Washington goes 5-7 this year. Is it we, or is it, we had 20, or I had 21 starters that left and we had to revamp? I had to revamp.
I love he's like, we have 46 new players and no one in college football history has done this before. And meanwhile, Deion Sanders is like, I do this every year. What are you talking about?
Deion's like, dude, get in line, bro. I do 800 of those. Hey,
like, come on.
Here's where it's at. Now, if Washington plays Colorado this year, they won't. But that would be an interesting one. I'd root for Colorado.
Yeah.
As much as I don't want to, I'd root for Colorado in that. Colorado and Washington and ASU are the 3 teams that I will root against for in every game this year.
Yeah, I wish. We were talking about this. ASU, I hate saying this because I know people are going to get mad.
Yeah.
They're not really on the top of our hit list, right?
No, they're third. They're third. It's Washington and Colorado. Washington because of Jed, Colorado because of the Colorado Deion people. ASU's third. I mean, Dilly's likable. ASU, obviously, I don't want them to win any games, but no, I'm going them third this year, Scheer.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
it's funny. The Alamo Bowl. Like, I was thinking the other day, like, the Bulls are still Big 12, Pac-12.
Right.
Like, I wonder if they could find a way, like, if Arizona didn't make the playoff and Washington somehow made a bowl, if they could get Arizona, Washington in a bowl game.
Oh, that would be really good. That would be really good. Oh, by the way, Duane Akina, another reason you should like Duane Akina. Duane Akina does not like Jedd Fisch. We very much like Duane Akina for not liking Jedd Fisch. And keep in mind, he was a big part of that defense's turnaround last year. Nice try, Jonah Coleman. Nice try.
Yeah, that one pissed me off. Even though you corrected me, you're like, I'm pretty sure he was talking about the coaches.
Yeah, but Jed told him to say that as well. So
it was just like we don't have to rewrite history. Like, I don't like.
Right. All right. Now, before we get on to some more football, and then we got to give a massive, massive shout out to a good, really good dude that had some good stuff happen for him, Circle K. Here's the deal with Circle K. I am going to be tripping up to Incline Village to take a picture in front of Circle K. Get that Inner Circle hat on now, Jason Scheer. Get it on now. All right. Oh, that one's awesome, too. Oh, gosh, those are good. All right, but anyway, Circle K, I will be up there taking pictures, maybe signing autographs. I'm probably not signing autographs, but Circle K, oh, wow, the Inner Circle and Circle K. Shane Diefenbach, when he gets back, says that he would love to have one of those. Those things go well. But you can join the Inner Circle for free, like Shane Diefenbach, by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for detail. Scheer, those hats are amazing. I would never leave the house without that hat on.
Someone offered me $5,000 for that hat, and I said no.
No. That's like when somebody comes up to you and offers you $5,000 for your kid. You're like, well, I'm flattered, but no, sorry, can't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where it is with those hats. Those hats are amazing. Very much like those hats. I can't wait for somebody in the YouTube comments to complain about this talk right now. Deal with it. It is fun. Circle K, check it out. And lastly, but last but not least, the Desert Financial Credit Union. All right. Our good friend Ben One White. He's a big fan of many of the endorsers of the show. And Benwin White has Desert Financial Credit Union. Here's why. Benwin White wanted $200 extra. So he went to desertfinancial.com/200. And guess what he found out, Jason Scheer?
What, Michael?
That these people are so cool that he decided, he's like, man, I'm staying with these people long term. And he's not the only one. Check it out. Desert Financial Credit Union. Here's the deal with them, though. You got, hold on a second here. Oh, yeah. When you open a free checking account online, get $200 in bonuses, just like our good friend Benwin White. Get started by visiting desertfinancial.com/200. Scheer, you see them everywhere when you go up. And that's where they are. Check the Desert Financial Credit Union, one of these ones where you will thank me later. We assume that do we assume when Jacob Franklin goes into the Desert Financial Credit Union that he has to duck down?
Absolutely.
There is no way that he does not have to duck down. Be like him, though, desertfinancial.com/200. Also, Scheer, another thing that we need to, Jacob Franklin, sometime in the coming weeks, is going to do a full show with us.
Is he?
Yeah, he is. Jacob Franklin, this is
I'll
true.
believe it when I see it. I'm just going to be honest.
He promised.
No, I agreed. Yeah, I agreed. I would do a full show with you guys.
Wow.
Yeah, that's going to be big. Wow. That's going to be big. We will be wearing our Inner Circle hats for that. Okay. Wow. Now, Fit for Expedition says Benwin White has been added to the missing persons list. Yeah, we need to get back in touch with Benwin White. Wonder what he's doing. All right, now, well, actually, I don't. But now back to some Arizona Big 12 football. Let me ask you this, point blank. Arizona, if they get into the college football playoffs, can they do some damage?
Mike, you need to calm down. But yes, absolutely.
No, I'm not calming down.
It'd be tough. That's all matchups.
Why would it be tough?
If they get in the college football playoff and they're playing Alabama in the first round, could they do damage?
All right, let me rephrase this. Okay. Here, I got a better way of putting this. I was thinking about this during the show note, or when I was putting the show notes.
There you go. I would.
Okay. No. But I do believe. All right. I'm going to name players for Arizona that could start for any team in the country. Okay? You ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Noah Fifita.
Any team in the country? Probably.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Teteroa McMillan.
Absolutely. Okay.
Jonas Savanea.
Yes.
Wendell Moy.
Probably. Play or start?
Player start, yeah.
Okay,
so we got 4 on offense right there, right?
Sure.
Traden Stukes in the nickel.
No.
So you disagree with Duane Akina that he's not one of the 5 best, or that he's not the best nickel in the country?
Can he start at any team? No. I don't think that's crazy.
What about Dalton Johnson?
Start? No.
Yeah. All right. Fine. All right. Now, Jacob Manu. Start. We agree on Jacob Manu.
Most teams, probably, yeah.
Takario Davis.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. I just named 7 players that could start for any team in the country.
Okay. Here's your deal. Here's your situation, right? Let's say you take last year's college football playoff, or last year's standings, right?
Right.
Let's say Arizona made it as the last team. They would have been the 11th seed, right?
Okay.
Their first game is probably against Georgia last year. Like your 11th
but Georgia's but no. I think it'd be against Florida State.
Okay.
They would beat Florida State last year.
A healthy Florida State?
No, my friend. I'm not at Florida State for a reason.
Sure. Last year's Florida State, yes. But you see what I'm saying? And I don't know what the winner of the Big 12 will be. I think that's going to be really interesting, too, is do they put them against when you have the winner, do you put them higher than the third SEC team? Like, there's going to be some seeding things that'll be interesting.
All right. Now, Lonnie Johnson. Oh, Lonnie Johnson, the great Lonnie Johnson says, hi from Northeast Kansas and go Big 12. And are you ready for the second? Oh, we are ready for the second. We are very, very excited. Now, with also We need to switch over here. Palmer Hoffman P-Off says, but Alabama has a lot of non-starters who would immediately start here. Oh, many players that would start here. Yes, I agree.
That's not the point here, Palmer.
Yes, Palmer, come on, Palmer. Let us have our fun here. We are just talking about players that. But Arizona's got 4 dudes on offense that would start anywhere.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, heck, man, that's 50% of the offense. If you add in 2 more or add in a player and a half, I mean, you're good to go then at that point. Okay, all right, now. Switching over to basketball, we have to give a big shout out to TJ Benson. Our guy, TJ Benson. We were very much hoping that TJ Benson was going to get the assistant coaching job after Ricky Foy left, and he did. TJ Benson is very much cut in the Jack Murphy type, a tireless worker, backs the A, does a lot of stuff behind the scenes. Just a good dude, fun guy to chat with. We are big fans of TJ Benson, and TJ Benson deserved this, Scheer. Yeah,
I think a lot of people are always looking for that sexy name to hire, all that. But a lot of times, like TJ works his ass off. We've seen it up close. Yeah. We've known TJ since he's been here, and I mean, he works hard, right? And Murph's the same way. They work hard. There's a reason why, like, Murph has recruiting success. A lot of it is effort and relationships, and TJ works his butt off. He knows the game. This allows him to, another coach says that basically this takes the handcuffs off TJ. Like, there's only so much TJ can do when in his current position. Now that he's an assistant, he can do it all, and I think Arizona's going to benefit greatly from it.
I think you hit the nail on the head, too, where you said that, a lot of people are, like, looking for the big sexy name, the Orlando Antiguas. But I will take TJ Benson every single day of the week, because guys like Benson, again, they're working when you're not really even thinking about him. Like Murph. Murph's probably been in, like, 35 countries in the past 2 days, just like recruiting. I mean, that's...
Murph's in Finland.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Murph did not respond to me after giving me a little bit of a. All right, but either way,
you probably texted him at 1 a.m. finish time.
Yeah, I did. Well, no, he texted me. So either way, but both these guys though, awesome dudes, and they are. That's what you're looking for as well. Also, when you have 2 coaches that work tirelessly, I think it just kind of sets a good tone for everything. And, like I said, and this is no shot at Steve Robinson. Like I said, I'm sure he does good stuff. I don't know exactly what Steve does. But again, Steve's a great dude. I know exactly what these 2 guys do. These guys we see them at every single event. So Scheer, we're very excited about this.
Yeah. Very happy for TJ. And in terms of movement around, who's going to replace him. I think some of that is fluid. Like, technically, Evan Manning is the director of basketball ops. Maybe he takes over scheduling. Arizona's going to hire one more guy to be like a GM of sorts with NIL and prospects and scouting and stuff like that. And so there's still some movement going on.
There's still some movement, but we're all going to get it figured out, and this is also rewarding a guy who deserves it and for the hard work. Well, all right, very good. Congratulations, TJ Benson. Also, TJ Benson, do you think that he knew that he was going to get this job? That's why he got buff so quickly?
Probably.
Dude, he was huge the last time we saw
him. He's jacked.
Yeah, all right, well, good job, TJ. Salute emoji to you, my friend. Okay, now, we need to get back to a little bit of, because I was remiss on a couple of my notes. We need to do punter. What Arizona football in the punter position? Now, listen, you always underrate Tyler Loop. We've been through this before. You're going to continue to do it. Tyler Loop, I love as the kicker. What are we doing at punter, though?
There is a possibility of adding another punter here in the next.
Right. I know. I heard that too.
It's not done yet, but a punter, I would keep my should I just say the name?
Just say the name. Put it out there.
Lachlan Bruce is a punter. He was on Oregon at one point, then went to City College of San Francisco. He's from Australia. It is not official yet, but there have been conversations with adding him. Should he be added, I would assume he's a starting punter.
I would definitely assume that they're bringing him in to start. Yes, and that's a fantastic name, Lachlan Bruce.
Yeah,
I mean, seriously, that just sounds like something.
It should be Bruce Lachlan, right?
Right. Yes, exactly. Right. Because then we need to get Bruce Pascoe to write a story about this.
Big Bruce Pascoe and Bruce. Yeah.
And
wow.
Lachlan Bruce. I mean, that pretty much writes itself. Now, so again, I would imagine that. Now, as far as kick returners, I get this question all the time. I am of the belief that most staffs want to have a coach or want to have players that will return kicks. I'm going to be interested to see what this Jed Fish, not a big believer in returning kicks. Anthony Simpson would still be here if he could just return kicks, or just fair catch kicks.
Hey, Anthony Simpson's killing over there at UMass.
Is he doing well?
He's not bad. He's not bad.
Look at his stats.
Last season, Michael, he caught 57 passes for 800 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, he's good. He's not bad.
I like that. All right. Well, yeah, that's good. But I didn't like him punt. I didn't like any of
his. By the way, did
punt.
not return anything.
Oh yeah, I didn't like. Well, yeah, just having a guy go back there just so he can fair catch is lame, loser.
The key with returning is really how good Speedy Luke is, right?
For sure. That's exactly what it is. Now, I also don't think that you're going to have a coaching staff that is looking not to play Speedy Luke, where they say with Jed. Well, he fumbled once in practice.
I have a question for you. Is returning kicks and punts enough for you to play Speedy Luke and not redshirt him?
All right. Here's where I'm at with Speedy Luke.
We're both that, but I'm saying, let's say he is dynamic at punting, returning, and kick returning. Are you willing to not redshirt him? Let's say he gets 5 carries a game.
5
carries, punt and kick returning.
And he's
willing to end his career on that.
And he's dynamic, and I don't know. That would be tough for me, man. That would be really tough. I will say this though. I would have a lot if I'm Alonzo Carter. I would have a lot of talks with because I'm not doing at this point with as loyal as they are. I'm not doing anything that's going to jeopardize me not having him next year, because next year is I think when he really makes his mark. I would still probably be inclined. Man, that's tough.
That's what someone with the coaching staff told me. He's like, look, what happens if he's like really, really good as a punt and kick returner?
Yeah, I mean, if he's a real difference maker, it'd be difficult for me. But here's what I would do. I would go to Fam's dad, and like I said, he's a great guy. And I would be honest with him. I would say, listen, we're gonna have him return all the kicks this year, probably 5 to 7 carries / receptions, but then he's got 1 year left. Or would you like to? Do you want to? We redshirt, and basically he's got 2 years where it's him and Kedrick, and he's returning all the kicks. I would honestly, I would still prefer that. I think he's such a dynamic talent, and this still needs to go back to Jed Fish. At the end of the day, Jed Fish is the reason that we're in this. Jed Fish. Oh, yeah. It was criminal what they did. He played a 155-pound kid and gave him 15 carries and burned his red shirt year. That should have never happened under any circumstances. I think but like I said, I'm going with what there's a lot of times I'm not going with what the family wants because I don't really care what the family wants.
Right.
Right. Honestly, but in this situation, I'd sit down with him and Pops, and I'd go over it and just see which way they want to go.
Yeah, I think you just lay everything out, right? And you say, what are you thinking? And if they have questions, it'll be answered. And Zoe's going to answer anybody's questions, and he's going to be very honest while doing it. And if they say, look, are you guaranteeing me I'm playing next year? Or am I just wasting my time? And Zoe said, look, no, I'll get you 15 carries a game next year. You just have to promise to get stronger.
Right.
It changes things.
I would be very, like I said. So I would still lean towards redshirting him if I could and get him a ton of, reps and snaps and stuff. But like I said, if they don't want to do that, then I'm not going to do that one either, because they've gone through it. They've been put through the ringer, and they've been great people all throughout. All right. Now, somebody that no matter what anybody says about him, he is really cool, is Jason Scheer. Jason Scheer, many people are asking, but nobody knows the answer. Where can they find you?
WildcatAuthority.com, Wildcat Scoop Podcast with Shelby at Jason Scheer on Twitter.
Okay, by the way, Gringo Billy, the great Gringo Billy says, this is actually interesting. I like this one. Well, not actually. It is interesting. I'd wait until the final 4 games and then play him fully from there if the red shirt is the choice. That's interesting. The only thing that would scare me a little bit about this is you've got a running back rotation at that point.
Yeah, you can't do that. I think it's the opposite. You play him the first 4 games and then decide from there.
Right, for sure.
You basically give him until conference play. See what you have, conference play starts, and figure it out from there.
Okay. All right. Now, also, no better time to become a PHNX diehard, my friend. Oh, I think our good friend Eric L. Day might be on. We will check this out later. Here's what you can get. Diehard membership card, free t-shirt of your choice from the locker, access to all premium written content, entrance to the Discord lounge, discounts on all events, very good stuff. And the great thing about this, you get even closer access to Jacob Franklin. Who does not want that access to Jacob Franklin? And again, he's always shooing away the autograph seekers. This way he has to sign the autographs. So again, become a PHNX diehard. Also, Fit for Expedition. Love Fit for Expedition. Scrumptious show today, guys. Very, very scrumptious. Okay, I will be up in Incline Village later talking with the people at Circle K. Very excited about that, and have some interesting Del Taco news later in the week. No hints, though. No hints. All right, but for the great Jason Scheer and everybody out there, very much appreciate you guys all. You're all smarter than me. I rely on you guys. All right, but for Jason Scheer, the great Jacob Franklin, I am merely Mike Luke. We'll be back with you tomorrow. One last thing. Starting Wednesday, everybody, put this in your calendar. During camp for August, all the shows will be at 2 o'clock because we're going to be going live after practice. So remember that, 2 o'clock starting Wednesday, everybody. But for Jason Scheer, Jacob Franklin, I'm Mike Luke. You've been listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.